going to be the Matheson medalist? I cannot tell you, but I can tell you who's got the most votes, and you're going to find out via, sportingpulse.com.au after I read out the top 10 of each team. So the top of the table team for the home and away season after 18 rounds was, drumroll,
South Barwon. Go.
Barwon. All right, well, in the top 10 for South Barwon, Jason Kirby, 46 votes. Dan Roy, 42. Anthony Bumans, 31, the skipper. Sam Stavenuta, the big man, 30. Tommy Stewart, still only 20 years old, but he's rounding off the top 5 with 23 votes. Reese Woods follows with 20. Paul Sullivan, 20. Luke Buckland, returning from the Geelong Amateurs, with 19. And the last two are really significant. The 9th place so far, Matthew Scarlett and Kel. We're going to listen to the lost interview.
The lost interview,
in a second.
We will.
But astonishingly, despite all that's happened to this poor man, Casey Tatungi still had the 10th highest votes for South Barwon from the Sporting Pulse. So let's find out what you had to say to Matthew Scarlett.
Oh, yes, let's check this out. I'll tell you, you guys say, when I first started with you and Max, and you guys said to me, look, bring whatever you want to the show. Bring your A game. Yeah. And that's what I did. I thought, you know what, I could go to GFL players, or I could just go to one of the best fullbacks of all time.
And then lose it for a week.
And then lose it for a week.
And then bring it back.
That's right. I had to build a suspension there.
Yeah.
So, and here it is. And this was done a couple of weeks ago. So here's Scarlo and I. Our guest this week played 284 games for the Cats. He's a 3-time AFL Premiership player, 6-time All-Australian, and is arguably one of the greatest fullbacks to have ever played the game. Matthew Scarlett, thanks for joining us here on the Final Siren.
Thanks for having me, mate. Good to be
here. Tell us about coming down from the AFL down to the GFL. How are you finding the differences between the leagues?
Yeah, mate, I'm absolutely having a great time, and look, I've got a lot of respect for the GFL. It's a fantastic competition. Hasn't surprised me how good it is. I've obviously watched a lot of GFL over the last 10 years, so lucky enough to go to a great club like South Barwon. Got a lot of terrific people. I've got some great friends there, and we're having a good year, so I'm really looking forward to the finals. It's exciting.
Yeah, you guys are absolutely red hot this year.
Yeah, we're going well. We've lost one game to Grovedale. They've played them twice, and we've beaten them by a point, and they beat us. So, we're in reasonably good shape. We've had a few injuries throughout the year, but we're getting our best team out in the park at the right time, so we're looking forward to the finals.
The Casey Tatungi incident, how far away were you from that?
Yeah, not far, mate. It happened in our back line, so like 10 or 15 metres away from the incident, and just a horrific accident. The players were in complete shock, I guess, after the accident. We weren't sure for a while what had happened to him, but knowing how tough he is and seeing him on the ground and he couldn't get up, we sort of knew after about half an hour that there was some serious problems going on there. So Casey's doing okay up in Melbourne. He's up in the Royal Talbot in a rehabilitation clinic up in Melbourne. He's in great spirits. He knows he's got a huge battle on his hands, but he's had some terrific support from Geelong community, which is going to have to be ongoing for a long time.
And he's watching tapes of the games as well, so he's still
coaching us. Yeah, coaching us from up in Melbourne. Our other coach, James Garvey, takes up the video of the game every Monday night. He watches edits. He gets his missus to write down the notes, and Garves reads it out every Saturday for us. So he's still very much coaching us, which is inspiring for us players.
So how's the book going? You've hold the line?
Yeah, the book's going well. It's been out for a couple of weeks and selling really well. So hopefully people will keep buying it, and hopefully people enjoy it. I'm really happy with how it's turned out.
It's a few stories in there. The Aaron Hamill story.
Yeah, there's some good stories, mate. There's some juicy stories in there. So hopefully people will get the book and have a good read. I think they'll enjoy it.
It's the burning question for all Carlton and Geelong supporters, the obviously comparison to Sauce. How do you find the comparison? Because playing in two different eras,
it's really hard. Everyone likes comparing, but I don't think you can. Obviously, no doubt, Sauce played on better full forwards than I did in my era. He had Gary Senior and Lockett and Dunstall, all those guys who I would have absolutely loved a chance to have a crack on. But I think the rules are a lot harder now for defenders. I think the way Sauce played, he's struggling a bit these days with the way he scragged and stuff.
Yeah, the octopus, yeah.
It's hard people comparing. I don't think you can. I think you just appreciate Sauce for who he was and me for who I was. So,
absolutely.
But I love Sauce. So I reckon he was a champion.
Who is the toughest opponent you've played on?
Yeah, I've put Matty Lloyd in the book. I've written a few of my toughest opponents just as a pure full forward. fantastic hands. He'd lead, mark, and kick a goal. You know, every time he had it in his hands, you wouldn't have to look over your shoulder. You know, it was going straight through. So he didn't have a lot of weaknesses in his game. So he was probably the toughest I'd played on.
What's your hope for the finals for the GFL this year for South Barwon? Yeah.
Our hope is we win the premiership.
Absolutely.
That's why we play footy for. So that's why you do a hard pre-season and sacrifice a lot throughout the year. So we've put ourselves in a really good position. I think we'll finish on top, have the first week off in the finals. And we're in really good shape. So we're looking forward. I'm looking forward to getting out on Simmons Stadium and playing on some nice grass.
What do you do outside of footy now? Now that you've retired from the big stuff?
I'm doing a little bit of part-time work up at the Whitten Oval, the Western Bulldogs, doing some coaching up there. So it's really strange going to a new club at the start of the year, and I was a little bit nervous at the start, but I'm really happy that Brendan McCartney, the coach, gave me the opportunity to go up there and learn some coaching skills. So I'm having a great time.
No aspirations to be a head coach down the track?
Not in the AFL. No, I think it's just too stressful, and you see the toll it takes on people now. I think, everyone loves footy. It is just a game, after all, but I think it might have got a little bit out of control, the footy world at the moment.
And remember, you can get your hands on a copy of Scarlett's book, Hold the Line, My Story, at bookstores. Scarlett, thanks very much for joining us here on the Final Siren, and good luck for the GFL Final Series.
Thanks, mate.